And welcome to Just for Clicks. I am Michael Buckheister, the king of the trolls, the king of the puns, and the king of the sound effects. On today's show, we're going to have the sports birthday of the day, the sports pick'em of the day, and we're going to go in a little rant to see if college players should actually be playing in their bowl games. All that and much more right after the intro. And welcome back, guys. Here, so I am Michael Buckheister. I'm kind of tinkering with my schedule here with the holidays, and I have a sick child as well. So I had a very short show yesterday. I picked the Monday night game. I did pick the Texans to beat the Titans, in which that was a successful pick as well. So I did pretty well in NFL pick'ems this past week. I'll have to get back to you on the actual record. My notes are outside in the car right now, so I don't have that right in front of me. But we'll definitely get that back to you guys. We'll get that back tomorrow before I hit the road to head to Kansas. So welcome to Just for Clicks. This is just a basically it's a sports show where I give you sports picks, sports birthdays of the day, and then kind of go on a little tangent at the end of the show, basically just to generate some interest and some controversy and talking of what's going on. So what I want to get to started on today's show is I want to wish Matthew Taylor a very happy birthday today. Matthew Taylor is an English football player, born in 1988 or 1982. I'm sorry. He has had a very successful professional career over in the English soccer. Started playing professionally in 1990 and started with Luton Town, and then graduated to Portsmouth, Bolton Wanderers, West Ham United, Northampton Town, and Switch Town. Currently, he is a player coach for Switch Town. So he is a man of very good talents. Being a player coach is very hard, especially in a professional realm such as soccer or anything else. So far he is 3-0 on the season. What it looks like as of a little while ago. With all that being said, very happy birthday to Matthew Taylor of English football here. All right, guys. So let's move on to the bets, sports bets today. Here, we're going to start with the NBA as always. This is a Tuesday edition, so there's not a lot of NBA games happening today. It looks like we have maybe 5 games happening, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick all 5 games here. First game up on the docket, we had the New York Knicks at the Detroit Pistons. Knicks are 7-14 on the season, while the Pistons are doing pretty well as a 10-7 here. 6-3 at home. Let's see here. Hardaway Jr. for the Knicks is their leading scorer at 23 points, and for the Pistons, no surprise, Blake Griffin at 25 points per game here. The spread for tonight's game is 7 points in the Detroit Pistons' favor. I'm going to pick the Pistons to win outright, but I'm going to pick the Knicks to cover. So for those of you that are new to sports bets here, basically the Detroit Pistons are supposed to win by 7 points. So I don't think they will cover that. I think they'll win by 5 tonight. So I had the Detroit Pistons winning outright, but Knicks will cover in tonight's game. Next up, you have the Atlanta Hawks versus the Miami Heat. I am slowly starting to become a Miami Heat fan here. Yes, they're 7-12 versus a Atlanta Hawks team that's 4-16. But I like that young core that Miami has with Whiteside, Richardson, Bam, Adebayo. So I like that young core. Like Atlanta does have a few young pieces, such as Trae Young, that they're starting to get in, but he's averaging just 15 points a game. And that is the leading scorer. So, like with that being said, I got to go with Miami Heat at home. It is a push as far as the point spread goes. So, pick Miami Heat to win it tonight. Next up, you have the Toronto Raptors at the Memphis Grizzlies. If you would have said the Toronto Raptors were going to be the team that they were at the beginning of the season, I would call you a liar. But Leonard is definitely making his impact on and off the court, becoming the leader that the Raptors have been needing for such a long time here. Raptors are 17-4 on the season, but the Grizzlies are also 12-7. But I'm going to have to go with the Raptors on this one. Memphis just they are a old mediocre team. Marc Gasol is their leading rebounder. Clooney is their leading points getter, and I just don't see them hanging with a young Toronto team that's looking very good with Lowry and like Leonard leading their way. Toronto does have a 4.5 point favorite. I picked them to cover that. So Toronto outright and to cover, meaning they'll win by 4.5 points or more. Next up, you have Los Angeles Lakers. Los Angeles Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, LeBron James is leading that team with 29 points a game. Murray is leading the Nuggets with 18 points per game here. Lakers are 11-8 on the season, 5-4 on the road. Denver's is 13-7, 8-3 at home. What I've learned picking NBA games this season, I never really picked NBA games before, but I'm learning quickly that when you have two quote-unquote evenly matched teams, you always go with the home team, especially on a Tuesday night game where NBA just really isn't going to be high-flying and fun to watch per se. So give me the Denver Nuggets. They are a 4-point favorite. I picked them to cover as well. So give me the Nuggets by 7 points to defeat the Lakers and put them at 500 on the road this season. Next up here, you have the Indiana Pacers and the Phoenix Suns. Pacers are starting to look like a pretty solid team. They are 12-8 on the season, 5-4 on the road, while the Phoenix Suns are just 4-4 and 15 here. Booker is their leading scorer at 25 points per game. Oladipo is the Pacers' leading scorer at 21 points per game. I really thought the Suns were going to be better this season. They had that very young, up and coming team with Booker and that draft pick they got. His name's slipping my mind right now. Ayton, maybe is that I believe that was his name, Ayton. But I really don't know what's going on with them, to be honest. It's really hard for me to watch the Phoenix Suns right now, or even pick them to win. It is a push as far as a point spread goes again. So I'm going to have to go with the Indiana Pacers tonight, and I think it's going to kind of be a blowout. I'm thinking like maybe 10 to 12 point win here. So give me the Pacers. Alrighty, guys, and that is the picks for the NBA for tonight. We have 5 games on the docket. So far this season of picking NBA games, I am 80%, give or take a few points. I am 9-3. I started out 0-3 on the season and picked 9 straight games. I usually try to pick 3 games, each and every time here. But you know what? Let's pick all 5 tonight. So that's it, guys. That's it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to college football here. The college football rankings come out tonight, and as you guys know, that there were some major upsets that happened this past Saturday. You had Ohio State demolish Michigan. What was it? It was 63-39, I think it was. It just that was just a really really ugly game. You had UCF, Central Florida continue their winning ways. I believe they've won 22 games in a row now, but they lost their starting quarterback. You also had Oklahoma beat West Virginia. It's just so the turmoil is really starting to happen in the college football standings. So when the rankings come out tonight at 8:00, they believe they release them. I don't see much happening in the top three. I still like Alabama at number one, Clemson number two, Notre Dame number three. When you win and then no team above you loses, I feel like you have to stay where you're at. And Alabama and Clemson are the number one and number two team in the nation, hands down. I do not like the Irish, but they're at number three. They've been there for 6-7 weeks in like a row now. They're going to stay there until they lose. They're pretty much guaranteed a spot in the championship game or the college football playoff as of right now. So this is where the issue comes into play. You have the number 4 team losing like Michigan did, and they got beat down. I mean, it was ridiculous how it was just a dominant performance by Ohio State. Hands down. So when you get into this 4th place team, you have to think of who do you think can actually beat Alabama in the first game of the playoff. Do you think it's going to be Georgia? Do you think it's going to be Oklahoma? Do you think it's going to be Ohio State? Hell, do you even think it's going to be a USC? So, I mean, it's really hard for me to put a team in there right now, but I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is the best team that can compete with the Alabama at this point. Then I think you have number 5, Georgia, and then Ohio State is number 6. So 4, 5, and 6 can be flip flopped any way you want, but it's going to play out this Saturday when Georgia plays Alabama, Oklahoma plays Texas, and then Ohio State plays Northwestern. So if all those teams win, then you have to put Georgia in the number 4 seed because they beat a number 1 ranked Alabama team. They would only have one loss on the season, beating the number 1 team. Why would I take Oklahoma out of that 4 seed if they win as well? Because I don't think they would be able to compete with a number 1 team in the college football playoff. That number 1 team probably being Clemson if Georgia were to beat Alabama. Yes, they have all the offensive power in the world. I just don't think they have what it takes, the defensive wise, to compete with the Clemson at the end of the day. Because if that offense gets shut down to 30 to 40 points, not they're averaging 50 points a game, and Clemson scores their 45, and that defense cannot stop Clemson. I mean, it's going to be a shit show at the end of the day. But right now, I have Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Georgia, Ohio State. Ohio State is on the outside looking in. They have to have Georgia and Oklahoma lose, and they have to beat Northwestern soundly to move into that 4 seed. Now, I'm going to raise this point to everybody here. What if all 3 of those teams lose? Georgia gets pounded by Alabama. Oklahoma loses to Texas again. Ohio State gets beat by another mediocre team such as Northwestern here. Then you have a Texas team that's outside looking in at 9-3. You have Michigan sitting there at 10-2, and then you have UCF sitting there at 11-0. Do they let UCF in? No, they don't. Their quarterback was hurt last week. They do play a championship game versus Memphis this week, but I just don't think it would be enough to catapult them up. I think if those three teams lose, such as Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ohio State, you have to move Michigan back into that number 4 seed. So Michigan fans, you might get your wish. You might still have a chance to get into that college football playoff. You have to be the biggest Alabama fans, the biggest Northwestern fans, and the biggest Texas fans, and the biggest Memphis fans as well, just in case, to get a shot. So, top 4, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and then Oklahoma as far as just for clicks. Now I want to get into the the topic that's been kind of driving me crazy in the last week or so. This is the time of year where players start declaring themselves for the draft. They're putting themselves in the situation to better their future, to make life-changing money. I get it. So the question that I'm going to ask you as a viewer, just to sit back and think, are you okay with players sitting out their playoff or their postseason game? For example, Kentucky has a player by the name of Josh Allen. He is projected to be in the top 10, I do believe, and fans are okay with him sitting out their playoff or their postseason game. It's looking like it's going to be the Outback Bowl for them this season, but they are okay with him sitting out that game. They are okay of him hanging up his cleats, playing his last collegiate game, and getting ready for the draft. The reason why I'm bringing this up here is because this is going to be a big issue moving forward after this. After the conference championship games, actually, it's going to be an issue now. So, a couple years ago, Leonard Fournette sat out his college team's postseason game. Leonard Fournette played for LSU and now is a tailback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which he's been hurt pretty much all season. Is suspended. Sorry about that phone call there. But long story short, are you guys okay with players sitting out postseason games to better their career so they don't get a chance of getting hurt before the draft, before the combines, etc.? I am on the opposite side of most people here. College they are giving you a free education. They are giving you a per diem so you're basically getting paid to play. You're getting your $2,000 like a month. They have set you up to put you in the draft to make money, and like now you're going to kind of quit on them because you don't want a chance of getting hurt. Like, no, get your butt out there, play, win a ring, help your college, have a great showing in the bowl game, and even maybe project yourself higher in the draft with that. With that great game. Okay, so say you happen to get hurt. You pull a hamstring, you tear an ACL. This modern day medicine that we have, you are almost guaranteed to be back by the start of the NFL season. Does it suck? It sucks 100%. Does it hurt your stock in the draft? More than likely. Take out yourself an insurance policy. They have them now. If you are projected to be a 10th round pick, you can take out an insurance policy insuring you like 40% of the money that you were supposed to make or something. It's something to that effect. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it is something around that number. So when all these players start to sit out because they don't want to get hurt, they don't want to hurt their draft stack. I get it, but get your ass out there and play football. Don't worry about getting injured. When you start worrying about getting injured, that is when you get injured. That is when you start getting hurt. That's when you hurt yourself and like stock in general. So at the end of the day, I understand your point of view, but understand the college's point of view. We brought you in here to be successful, to get you to the next level. Now help us out by winning this bowl game. Help our recruiting. Help your alma mater to be great, like we all want to be. So get your ass out there and fucking play.